Welcome troops, it's me TheTacticalBrit, and today we're talking about Battlefield 1 Incursions. The alpha for Battlefield 1 Incursions has gone live on the 21st of September, and today I quickly wanted to discuss what it is exactly Incursions needs to do to be a successful part of Battlefield 1 in terms of a competitive gameplay mode, but also more importantly to take the first leap of faith into the competitive platform for Battlefield as a franchise. I feel as though Incursions is probably the start of something much bigger in the next succession of Battlefield titles and for the franchise as a whole, to make that kind of push that we've all been waiting for to see Battlefield as an esport. So number one on my list for Incursions to be successful is a ranking system, and this sounds relatively simplistic and kind of basic, but really ranking systems are actually quite complex in terms of matching players based on skill and how well they play in game. And I feel as though this is necessary for Incursions to be more or less as addictive as some of the other competitive titles we've seen out there. We've seen, for example, that games such as Overwatch and CSGO and Rainbow Six Siege thrive on having ranking systems that allow players to fight for the best rank and, try to be the top dogs of each individual bracket. I can't tell you how many times I've tried to pester my way into Diamond and Platinum on Rainbow Six Siege and how much of a struggle it is, but also how much fun it is to make that grind, to be able to visually see your improvements season upon season. Now, another thing I want to integrate within this is that EA does a really good job of integrating competitive gameplay into a bigger platform. You'll see, for example, on games such as EA Sports' FIFA, that by playing competitions on a weekend and achieving a high rank in those competitions, you can actually be invited to real-life competitive events that actually have money-based tournaments in different parts of the globe, which I think is pretty crazy, and I feel like it's something that could happen for Battlefield 1, provided there is a structured rank system that allows you to see just how well you're doing and how you can get better. The next key to success for Incursions is simply investment, and this is both EA and DICE. Now, I'm really glad to see that DICE has dedicated almost an entire group of people, an entire team, to making Incursions happen. They've actually, gone to the drawing board with this mode. They've worked together tirelessly to change how things are happening in game, and to work on this customized map with this customized mode and different gunplays and kits. It's fantastic. It's great to see that much effort has gone into making this competitive leap. And DICE as a whole, I think, can carry on doing that, and they're going to have to continue doing that to make Incursions the best it can possibly be. I'm sure after the alpha, we're going to see a whole wave of feedback in ways that we can actually improve Incursions as a mode, and simply having that investment of time and the number of developers available to do so is going to be important. But on a much grander scale, it's really important that EA starts throwing some money behind this. You can't open a competitive environment and a competitive scene without starting to fund tournaments and do things like that. I mean, we've got things like season passes, battle packs. You can pay for shortcut kits, even if they were just to take maybe 10 to 20% of the revenue from those things and invest it into creating a competitive environment for professional teams to thrive in and compete for real cash in real life. I think would be fantastic, and I feel like once Incursions reaches that polished state whereby we can actually start having these competitive tournaments, I think it's absolutely essential that a good amount of money is thrown behind this game mode to really get the competitive scene off the ground. Lots of other smaller games have tried hosting competitive scenes, but it's very simplistic in the sense that if a game does not have enough money for it or enough money behind building a competitive bracket, then professional teams simply won't see the value in competing. The next thing Incursions needs to be successful is quite simplistic, but something I feel like is often missed out on is performance. Performance as a whole in terms of gameplay environment, but also performance in terms of netcode and actual client performance as well. Now, Battlefield 1 is a very optimized game. It's fantastic. I think it's probably one of the best running games I've played on my PC. I know lots of other people feel the same way. But what's even more important is that the server-side optimization is there to make sure that we have a very tight competitive experience. I can't explain to you how much I hate Rainbow Six Siege for its netcode and its hit detection flaws and things like that. Now, I'm happy to see so far that there appears to be the first murmurings of 120 Hz servers being the standard for 5v5 incursions, which I think is a fantastic first step in the right direction. I think it's going to be fantastic for play on those servers. Gunplay should feel fantastically solid. I've used fantastic about 6 times in the last sentence, but perhaps that conveys to you my excitement about 120Hz servers. But even things like hit reg and, you know, just tightening all of the little loose ends up that we have witnessed in Battlefield 1, just to make sure that everything's 100% just there. I feel like that's a really important thing to have. I feel like DICE work very well on the performance side of things, so I imagine this is something that's probably already there and already in mind whilst designing the game mode, but like I say, it's a definite. It's something that sometimes gets underlooked in competitive modes. Next up is bold design choices. Now, I know this sounds a bit strange, but ultimately, Incursions is a very different game mode to what Battlefield is as a whole. Battlefield is all about those big 64-player battles. Incursions is a 5v5 battle, and as such, it needs to compensate for that big change. It needs to be able to make massive design choices and say, hey, we're going to change this, this, and this. And I'm happy they've already started doing that. I think the Redux version of Giant Shadow is a good example of a bold design choice. They've ripped away most of that map and changed it up entirely to suit the 5v5 environment. And also the kits as well, having these new specialized kits with 2 or so weapons that play in their own dynamic ways is a bold design choice. And I feel like they have to continue to start making those, continue doing that in terms of matchmaking and future kits and how things will play out. And I think we'll have a successful game mode. Like I say, Incursions being so drastically different to Battlefield 1 as a base game means that simply DICE are going to have to make bold design choices with almost everything they do when designing Incursions. And I think we've seen the first evidence of that, but I think it's something that has to remain consistent in order for Incursions to thrive as a 5v5 mode. The final, but probably most important thing for me is that it has to be fun to watch and fun to play. Competitive games only extend as far as their audience and only extend as far as the players who are playing it themselves. For example, I do sometimes watch competitive Siege. I'm so invested in playing that game, so invested in playing Siege competitively, even PUBG to a degree when I'm playing online on that, that I actually like sometimes sitting down and watching some of the tournaments and just seeing what they're about. And if you really do it well, then the game is really fun to play and really fun to watch. You'll have an almost fanatical crowd. We've seen it in CSGO, we've seen it in Overwatch, and we've seen it in real-time strategy games such as StarCraft. If you have that game that's tense to watch and people are losing their shit with every single play that's being made, then people will keep coming back. It's almost like a sport. It's almost like an NFL league or a soccer league. I just use that and I'm British. Football. Football is the actual phrase. We use that word here in the United Kingdom. But you kind of get the gist. If you're really interested in something and you enjoy playing it yourself, then you're going to enjoy watching it if it's equally as fun to play. It can't be like golf, where it's interesting to play, but watching it hurts. I mean, at least for me that's the case anyway, but I'm sure it's the case for many others of you out there as well. But yeah, fun to watch and fun to play seems to be a necessity for any competitive game mode to thrive, and I feel like that's something Incursions has to absolutely nail. So guys, it's been me, TheTacticalBrit. As always, I hope you have enjoyed this video. What suggestions do you have for Incursions? Please let me know down in the comment section below. As always folks, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you again soon in another video.